Hey everybody, I am Kevin Iole, UFC 304 on July 27th in Manchester, England. So I guess in Manchester, England, some of the fights are going to be on July 28th because it is going to be early in the morning on that night. Leon Edwards will be defending the welterweight championship in the main event against this man, a man who was on a 9-fight winning streak. They have fought before. Of course, how can I forget this name? Never forget that face, Belal Muhammad. How are you, Belal?
My brother, how you doing? I'm good.
I am doing awesome. So we have a guy on a 12-fight winning streak against a guy on a 9-fight winning streak. You two are basically been on a massive roll. A little frustrating that it's taken this long to get to this point where you're in a championship bout.
Yeah, definitely frustrating, right? Because I felt like it should have been a while ago. But for myself, when I look at it now, it's like now I'm the best version of myself. So it's only going to be worse for Leon. Like the guy I was 3 years ago would get dominated by the guy I am now. The guy I was yesterday would get dominated by the guy I am now. Every single day, I'm growing, getting better, and I'm going to be the best version of myself coming July 27th.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, since you fought Leon Edwards, a very wide decision win over Demian Maia, beat Stephen Thompson, Vicente Luque, knockout Sean Brady, which was really impressive because Sean Brady was on a roll. I thought that might be a fight where he would give you some trouble, and you handled him, and then Gilbert Burns. So really been on the best roll of your career. But let's roll back for 1 second. That you mentioned the other fight with Leon, and that was on March 13th in 2021. I don't know what you think of that fight looking back now. I kind of thought Leon had a significant edge in that first round of the fight. And then, of course, it ends with the inadvertent eye poke in the second. What do you remember about the first round? And is there anything that you can take from that, Belal, that will help you when you challenge him for the title?
Honestly, you really can't. I really don't take much from that fight, right? The only thing I take from that fight is like the anger that I felt from that fight. My first main event, the way you always think of how something's going to turn out. He was also the first ranked guy I've ever fought. Like I was supposed to fight, been asked for ranked guys forever. Then all of a sudden I get that call on a couple weeks notice to fight him. And those are the emotions that I feel. The emotions of like, when you enter a fight, you want to get a result, whether it's a win or a loss, you want a result. And we didn't get a result that day. And he was satisfied with that. So it tells me that he didn't like what he felt in there. He didn't like what he seen in there. And I think that him and his team, if they go into this fight thinking, we're going to do what we did to that fight, they're going to be in for a rude awakening.
When I mentioned to Leon the other day your streak, and I said, that Leon is probably the best striker in the division, and I said, but Belal has had this list of, Stephen Thompson, Vicente Luque, et cetera, really good strikers that he fought. The one thing he said, he talked over me, and he said 40. He said they're all old guys, right? And do you think that that's just kind of him whistling past the graveyard or trying to get into your head or something, or do you think that's something he really believes?
I mean, when I look at his resume, for him to get the title fight, he fought nothing but lightweights, right? Donald Cerrone, RDA, Nate Diaz. Like, okay, look at the guys that I beat when I beat them, right? Gilbert Burns was on a 2-fight winning streak. Luque was on I think 5 or 6 fight winning streak when I beat him. Sean Brady was on a 15-fight winning streak when I beat him. Wonder Boy was like 3-1 out of his last 4 fights when I beat him. Demian Maia was like 3-1. Like, he can say whatever he wants, but I know what I had to do to fight those guys. And when I trained for those guys, every single one of those camps, I picked up something different, right? Because I had to train for a grappler. Then I had to train for a striker. Then I had to train for a guy that knocked me out before. Every single one of those guys, every single one of those camps, I evolved as a fighter because I always look at my opponents as the best version of themselves. So regardless of who they were at the time, I fought the best version of them, and I got the best version of myself out of it.
Your wrestling has really been, spectacular. And I thought that Stephen Thompson fight showed that really, nobody could get him off his feet. And you just kept him on the mat almost the entire fight. So my question would be this, when Leon won the title from Kamaru, I think it was UFC 278. One of the things he did successfully early in that fight that I thought helped him was he took Usman down, and he kind of had some advantages, and I maybe surprised him and, kind of shook things up. Do you feel, knowing, how good your wrestling is, that he will try that on you just to switch things up?
I mean, I hope he does, right? I want to feel those sequences. Right? I love when guys want to grapple and wrestle, and they think that they're better than me in any form. My last 2 fights, people look at me and they say, "Oh, he's just gonna go out here and wrestle Leon." They call me a wrestler, but my last 2 fights, I didn't shoot one takedown against Sean Brady and against Gilbert Burns. And even in Leon, the first fight, he shot on me twice. I never shot on him once. So he never felt what I was capable of doing in the wrestling department yet. The thing with me is I can take the fight wherever I want it to go. If I want to keep it standing, I can keep it standing. If I want to take it to the ground, I can take it to the ground. He's not going to take me to the ground. He has to keep it standing.
So the one thing that I don't know, you have a lot of experience, 23-3 with the 1-no contest. So you've been around a long time. I know not much is going to bother you, but that is a different environment fighting in, and especially fighting at whatever it's going to be over there, 3 a.m. or whatever that's going to be when you guys walk into the ring. Because, I've covered fights over there, and, and they were on prime time in the US and early in the morning Sunday in the UK, and the people were drunk and there's all kind of craziness going on, right? Is that something you have to mentally prepare for, is the craziness of the crowd and whatever impact it might have?
Not really, right? I feel like I was always a pro wrestling fan growing up, and I always liked the bad guys. I always liked the guys that got booed and the people hated, right? And even now for myself, wherever I'm at, I'm getting booed no matter what. So it's like been preparing for it. I've been up to a lot of these places, and I know that it's going to be his hometown. I know that there's going to be people there going, but I got a big group coming with me. I got a lot of family that are going to be there sitting front row, and I know that they're going to be cheering. I know that they're going to be pushing for me. And honestly, that's all that matters, because I had that good energy. Bring that bad energy to them. That small group of good energy is going to trump their bad energy.
I guess I just have to throw this in there. Of course, I'm an Iron Sheik guy, right? Iron Sheik was one of the greats, a little before your time, maybe. But so, who are your favorite bad guys?
Man, Stone Cold. You can't beat Stone Cold. Stone Cold was always the best. I love The Rock. The Rock was the GOAT. And then CM Punk. CM Punk's still one of the best out there right now.
There's no doubt about that. He is doing his thing. A couple other things. The odds, Leon at DraftKings is minus $1.28. You're plus $1.64 on that. Are you surprised by those numbers? He's basically 2-1 favorite.
Not really, right? Because I think I've been an underdog in my last 5 fights.
Your last 5?
Fight. Yeah, they've always doubted me. They always think that I'm going to lose. And whenever I win, they always come up with an excuse why I won. So I didn't think that this would be any different. I love to be doubted. I love to be for the world to still think that I'm not good enough or I don't belong here. And then I just go out there and just keep beating their expectations.
Why do you think that is? Like that you have been underestimated? Is it because you're from a small team, or, do you have any idea? Because obviously your record's great. It was good when you came into the UFC. You're on a 9-fight winning streak. All these things that you have accomplished. We talked about the great fighters you've beaten, and yet, you don't have that cachet that maybe some other fighters have. Even when there was talk that you might fight in the main event of UFC 300, there was a lot of people, I don't want to see Belal and Leon fight, right? There was that kind of negative talk. Why do you think that's followed you around?
I mean, I think, I don't know, just because I don't have the crazy attributes, right? I don't have I'm not 6'6" long with crazy power, one punch knockout power. I beat a lot of these guys just by out grinding them, beating these guys by out strategizing them. And I think that the real MMA fans, they'll love it. They understand it. Real coaches, real teams, real fighters, they look at me and they be like, bro, what are you doing? I want to follow suit with you. How are you guys doing it there with your small team, your small gym? There's going to be obviously the haters and the trolls that are going to say whatever they're going to say. But at the end of the day, we just keep winning. And then when it's all said and done, I think my resume is going to be up there with the best welterweights to ever do it. And then people are going to look back and ask me, how did I do it? What did you do to get here? I didn't start martial arts when I was 5 years old like a lot of these guys. I started 23 years old later in life. And a lot of what I got now is just by hard work, just by pushing myself, just being a normal guy that just works twice as hard as everybody else.
That's kind of, we're in an election year now, and that's, you hear the politicians talking about that a lot. But I would think from your standpoint, you would relate to those people, right? Because you're going to work every day, punching the time clock, sweating and grinding. You didn't have it given to you easy, and not that any MMA fighter has it given easy, right? But you didn't come with with the big attributes and everybody paving the way. You're kind of a working man's hero here.
Yeah, but I think we're more in the day and age now with the troll day and age where you have to say stupid things to get attention. People are looking for that, the clickbait. They're looking for you to say, racist stuff, homophobic stuff. And that's why you guys got like Sean Strickland, who the fans are loving. Oh man, he says the dumbest things, Sugar Sean smokes weed. He's the man, this, and this. And for myself, I'm very religious. I'm high in my morals, high in my my education. And I think that a lot of these guys, they think it's boring, right? If you think back to, do you think GSP would be a superstar in this day and age? I don't think so. I think they'll look at him like, oh, who's this Canadian, quiet, not trying to talk. But this would be the day and age where the Nate Diaz is and the Nick Diaz would shine, because, it goes back and forth. Masvidal never was a different person. He became a superstar just because the fan base changed. The fan base started knowing who he was, and they loved him, and he did this. But he's always been the same guy.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let's wrap with this. I mentioned it's going to be in the middle of the night, early morning, however you want to look at it in UK time. How do you adjust for that? I know, you're a pro and you fight at different times, but like when it is, at a time where you're normally asleep, what's the process to adjust for that?
I think the fact that I'm going out there late, it benefits me that I'm trying to just stay on American time zone the whole time while I'm out there. We got little things that we've talked to sleeping coaches and asked for them. The PIs have been really smart and really good with getting us things that are going to help us adjust. They've made changes to a lot of the media and the weigh-ins down there. So I think the time zone and everything's going to be perfect for us, for the guys that are coming from America.
Interesting. Very good. That's Belal Muhammad. He will challenge Leon Edwards for the UFC welterweight championship on July 27th on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Belal, always good to talk to you, my friend. Wish you the best of luck.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you, brother.
See you, brother. Be well.